specifics now.
Just get your name and how you spell it.
Yeah, this is Todd Akin, Todd, T-O-D-D, Akin, A-K-I-N, and I'm congressman from Missouri too.
You're on the budget committee with Congressman Ryan.
Paul Ryan, yes sir.
What has that experience been like, putting his budget plan together?
It's a good. He's done a good job, all said and done. Where we are is we are so far into the economic problem that the budget, you just can't make it balance right away. But we have to dig our way back up off the cliff. And the budget that's proposed is a pretty good balance of all the different things that you got to work with. And it's a budget that moves us in the right direction, and it gives us a time of hope, and it stabilizes the value of the dollar and all. But it's not easy. Even at the end of 10 years, it still doesn't get to total balance yet. So it's one of those, it's the best we can do given where we are.
What kind of things do you hear from the opposing party? Just that, oh, if we just raise taxes, it's okay, or do they honestly see things aren't that bad?
Well, what they want to do is, and it's a tactical decision on their part, is to ignore the economic problems that we have, to try and ignore those, and then as soon as Republicans try to solve the problem, then they beat us up saying, oh, you're going to take old people's Social Security, oh, you're going to take their Medicare away. What we specifically said in the Ryan budget, that anybody that's 55 or older, we're not changing it. So we're trying to leave that the way it is. But then as you move down, we have to deal with the runaway entitlements. We're trying to modify them to make them more free enterprise so that it'll control the cost growth on them.
What specific changes in the budget should be made?
Well, there are a whole lot of things that should be changed in the budget. You know, first of all, we have got to really cut a lot of these agencies that make all this red tape and create just chaos for businesses. We have to redesign the entire tax code, get rid of loopholes. We got to lower the tax rate so we encourage more jobs come back into the country. But then in terms of entitlements, we have to deal with that, because even now you could just basically zero everything that runs a government. That's all running on debt, because entitlement and debt service is taking all of our revenue. And so what we have to do is we have to deal with the entitlements, but we have to do that carefully so we don't ruin the people that are really old and dependent on them. But we've got to sort of change those to make them a little bit more. For instance, what we're doing in Medicare, it's a little bit complicated, but what we're saying is we're going to take the Medicare money and put it so that it goes to different insurance companies, and the individual can choose the company they want, and therefore tailor the medical insurance they have to their personal needs. But because of those things are going to private companies, it creates some competition and incentive to try to save instead of just waste government money. So doing that type of thing will help bring the cost of Medicare down while it still doesn't destroy the program. You know, the funny thing is that if people realize what's happening, if you realize what's happening, if you want to say who is it who's really trying to hurt Medicare and Social Security, is it the person that recognizes it's broken and is trying to fix it, or the guy that ignores it and just lets the train run off the track? I think that it's our job to be responsible and deal with these problems.
The DSCC has sent an email about you almost every other day this week, the Democratic Senatorial Committee. You mentioned Claire McCaskill in your remarks. Where are you in this decision about running for Senate?
Well, it's one of those decisions we're going to have to make in the near future, you know, and there are a few things that I need to get squared away, but as we're taking a look, there's been a lot of encouragement for us to jump into the race, and our belief is that it's critical in the choice of two Americas. If we want really the free country and free enterprise the way we've always enjoyed, we have got to move the Senate in a much more conservative direction. McCaskill really is just a rubber stamp for the president, and he is way, way, way left of left.
You were mentioning lowering government spending. Should that include Congress pay?
Well, we started off, the first thing we did in January almost, after requiring every single bill to have a front end explaining why it's constitutional, the next thing we did was we cut all congressional budgets by 5%. Not a big part of the budget, but it was a statement to let people know we're serious. Then we read the Constitution on the floor of the House. That was the way we started, and we're continuing on that basic pattern of a conservative approach to the way we're going to run the House.
You had compared during your talk, compared the times now to the Civil War times. Is it that close to a split?
Well, I really think, see, the thing about the Civil War was sort of north-south, it was geographic. This thing is really two visions of what America should be. Do we really want to become a sniveling entitlement state, or do we want freedom? You know, and so that's the choices that's before the voters. So everything that's going on, in a way, is they're setting up the election in 2012. All of this maneuvering on the 11 budget that Pelosi never passed, all of the things that the parties are doing in these little technical votes, it's all really just, it's like two armies sort of sizing each other up, because 2012 is what's going to define where we come out of this thing. And I believe we can win some of those seats back in the Senate, and we're not going to fix this thing overnight. It's gone downhill over a long period of time. It's going to require a lot of patriots and a whole lot of energy to do it. There's no simple, I think it was Ronald Reagan said, the answer is simple, but it's not easy. I think that's kind of a good way of saying it.